Today's show is brought to you by Boomerang, the series. BT brings a young, gifted, and unapologetically black cast that is a lot like you. Original dramedy premieres Tuesday, February 12th at 10/9 Central, only on BET. Welcome back to another episode of Shut I'm 30 with me, your host, Carla Ramirez, and
Anthony Bertram.
That's it?
You know, I'm going to start calling myself Tony the Realtor. What do you think about that?
Okay, no, we're not going to do that.
Why not? Like that should be like my little...
That's your Instagram.
But that's it should be like my what's the word? Like my stage name or something like that.
You're not
my
on
alias.
stage.
That's what it should be. It's my alias. So,
Tony the Realtor.
Tony the Realtor.
Like Tony the Tiger?
Yeah, bitch. There you go. See?
So what are you going to do after you say Tony the Realtor?
I don't know. It's going to have to be something glamorous. I'm going to have to think of that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, happy Black History Month.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Happy... y'all have Spanish month, right? Don't y'all have a Spanish...
Yes, we do. We have Hispanic Heritage Month. I believe it's September.
October? Okay.
I think it's September.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Is it October?
I don't know. I'm not Spanish.
I think it's September.
Oh.
Ooh, hold on.
Well, I'm like McDonald's. I celebrate Black all 365. That's how I was raised and how I was taught. So, yeah.
You celebrate it all?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah, it starts September 15th all the way to October 15th.
Oh, so
it's actually we're both right.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, look at that.
So exciting. Anyways, so today is the first episode of February, and we're going to feature on this episode the one and only Queen of our generation, picked by the one and only King of the podcast.
Right.
The most influential woman in the world.
Oprah motherfucking Winfrey.
See, how you gonna fuck up her name, man?
Jesus.
Oprah Gail Winfrey. Because according to WikiLeaks, she was not born Oprah. She was Orpah Gail Winfrey, but people get mispronouncing her name, so it's stuck as Oprah. Mm-hmm. So what you got about Oprah?
So I didn't know that her middle name was Gail, for one. So I guess she found herself.
Gail's name is really Gail.
I know her name is. I damn know well that black lady did not change her name to make her fucking middle name Gail. Her first name Gail.
My $3 billion friend.
Oprah wasn't worth $3 billion when she met Gail.
If my friend worth a lot of money told me to change my name, I'm changing my name too.
I feel like Gail is her own person that to try to become a clone of Oprah's, but it's just a coincidence. They were meant to be soulmates.
I guess.
So, yeah. But, yeah, Oprah, let me tell you something. Carla asked, hey, who do you want to feature for Black History Month? And I was like, bitch, Oprah. You want to start with Oprah? Why not?
First of all, I didn't say, do you want to start with Oprah? I was like, is that who you really want to start with? I thought you might have wanted to start with somebody dead.
Why?
I don't know.
Let's celebrate. Let's give people their flowers while they're alive.
You're right.
And I feel like, Oprah, I don't feel like I know for a fact. Oprah is the most influential person in the world. And she just so happened to be black. She led the way for black people in the media. She's the one of the most giving, charitable people in the world in showbiz.
Oprah. She's
Oprah.
You can't even, she is the word. She's a noun. She's a verb. She's an adjective. It's like, don't Oprah this. Don't be an Oprah. That is Oprah. She's everything.
Yeah. If Oprah tells you to do something, you go do it, right? Oprah faves, she made her faves your faves. People like Rachel Ray, Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, Gayle King.
Nate
and you said
Berkus.
One more person. I don't know who the hell
you
that
don't know
is.
who Nate Berkus is?
No.
So he was the interior designer who actually was gay, white guy, gorgeous, so cute. And he went to Thailand, I believe, when the water thing happened.
Okay, the tsunami.
The tsunami happened. And he lost his partner during that. He literally was caught by the water, and his story is incredible. So if you guys haven't heard on Oprah's podcast, it's called, what the hell is it?
Super
Soul Conversations.
Yeah.
There's a 2-part of Nate Berkus. And when I tell you, it will break your heart.
Really?
Yes, you have to listen to Nate Berkus' story.
So, we were doing some research about Oprah before we got on this podcast because, we want to have her facts straight, right?
Right.
When we're talking about her. But I didn't know she was one of the first people in media to give LGBT people a platform and talk about it and actually got us to be more accepting of them.
It jump-started the mainstream acceptance of the LGBT community.
It did. And she also was on Ellen DeGeneres' show.
Ellen came on Oprah's show and she came out to the world.
No, she was playing a therapist. That's how it was it was like a little skit they were playing.
Yeah, so it was Oprah gave her the platform to come out as gay in mainstream. And because of that, Ellen lost a lot of business, lost a lot of friends. She literally went from being at the top of her career to just being blackballed everywhere because she was the gay girl now.
And I think she mentioned this on her comedy special and how she worked her way up and people started.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. I like Ellen.
So did you know that she didn't curse?
She didn't. No,
she doesn't curse.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that she comes on at 11 o'clock, midday, and most of her following. So Ellen's cool.
Well, some of the quick things, I don't know if you wrote them down. Oprah is a media executive, an actress, a talk show host, a host, period, a TV producer, the highest rated TV program of its kind, nationally syndicated from 86 to 2011. And for those of you that don't know how much that is 25 motherfucking years. A lot older, some of.
Yeah, I don't know.
25 years, bitch.
Listen,
syndicated.
That's big because this bitch was big. She had a big ass head, and she came on and started telling y'all what to do. I mean, and she was black on top of that.
She wasn't the cutest thing out there.
But one of the biggest influencers of our life, right? And she didn't have to show a titty to get a following. See,
she had some big ones.
She got some and a big ass booty. Everything big on Oprah.
She didn't show anything, any of it.
Her heart big, her money big, pockets.
So she's a big giver, correct? Mm-hmm. So what is she?
What do you mean?
What is that called?
She's charitable.
What is another word for charitable?
Giving to charity.
And and when you give to charity, what else are you called?
Giving. Loving, caring.
No.
Bitch, what is it? I don't understand what you're
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
No?
No.
So she's not a philanthropist?
Yeah, she is a philanthropist.
I think you almost licked the microphone. No. Trying to say philanthropist,
bitch. But I said it, bitch.
Say it.
I said, no. You only get one, bitch. This is it, bitch.
One more time.
I would not. No, I would not. Let's go ahead and move on. Oprah is really, really great. Like I said earlier, she gives the most amount of money to charity than any other business.
Makes her what?
Person in showbiz. Makes her huge, right?
You don't want to say philanthropist?
No, I said it once.
One
Carla.
more time.
No, you a big ass bully, bitch. I told you that. You was one of them girls that used to pick on motherfucking kids and all this other stuff and got everybody else in the classroom to pick on them.
I'm trying to help you.
And then you tried to come back and be their fucking friend at the end, bitch. But I'm letting you know.
We became friends.
Huh?
And we were friends.
But you do it opposite, bitch. You became my friend and you started picking on me, bitch. You started picking on my I said, bitch, you're making me feel like I was that kid in 5th grade again. This is exactly how you make me feel.
Did you have a speech impediment growing up? Or did this happen as an adult?
No. I did. I had a stuttering problem, I guess, when I was younger. I broke out of it, and I went to a couple of speech classes when I was young.
Bitch, you went to classes for real.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna make fun of you no more because you really are handicapped.
Bitch, I'm not. Bitch, this was in pre-K, bitch. So that's what it was. I guess being surrounded by motherfuckers. I will not
make fun of people that really have problems.
It's all right, bitch. I don't have a problem, bitch. I can speak.
Tell me, I can speak.
They told me I just had a lazy tongue. I don't pronounce every syllable that comes about, so it's kind of hard.
That's why you're gay, because you got a lazy tongue, and we don't do niggas with lazy tongues.
That's okay. If that's what you correlate, I don't care how you feel about my tongue in any type of physical aspect.
Oh, that's lazy ass tongue. Right. We don't want none of them niggas. You stay over there with the boys.
Yeah, let my ass stay over here.
Anyways, today's actually going to be a very serious episode. We are having.
Oh, it is.
It is.
And you just sat here and joked all this time, and you about to get into. I guess you had to brighten the mood.
Yeah, because it's about to get deep. It's going to get serious. It's going to get sad. But it's also a great story, and it lets us all know that we need to be very careful in what we do in life, the decisions that we make as adults now, because it can affect us, our children. Mm-hmm. Talk to them and show them like different people's experiences. That way we can learn from others. And I don't know about you, but to me, I didn't learn too much from other people's mistakes.
Oh,
I had to burn my hand a few times.
No, I learned from your mistakes. I do. This is what has kept me out of jail and kept me out of a lot of things. Well, big ones, yes. But there are other things that I would say with big. Also, I had to burn myself a few times to get it. I'm like what?
Let me see.
I guess mine is driving on suspended license, bitch.
Bitch, you didn't learn that one the first, second, third, or fourth time. Bitch, mine, I would say not paying my tickets. I would say being hard-headed, being a hothead. I had to burn my hand a few times with all that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then maybe not listening to authority when I should have growing up.
Really?
Yeah, I had an issue with authority.
If I see somebody else going through hell, I'm like, okay, I know not to do that, not to do that, not to do that. So I love hearing people's struggle stories or things that they're going through because I'm actually learning.
I do too now as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But I know
this person's story was really, really powerful. I came in with a different mindset, right? At the beginning of this interview, and to be honest with you, she really did change. I felt my whole perspective start to change and start to understand every aspect of a person that was in the position she was in. Because I always say, we just know better, right? You're taught not to do certain things, right? But you never know when you're put in this position, and then it's not. We all do some shit, right? We all fuck up sometimes, but it's what you do afterwards and what you do to fix it that really speaks about your character and the type of person you are. And this particular person did something huge. She made a huge sacrifice, all because she knew she was involved into doing something wrong. Right.
So we'll go ahead and get started with today's episode, and I hope you enjoy that.
Yes. Bye. Well, I keep saying bye.
Today's episode, I'm really excited about, and I say that all the time, but this one I was looking for a specific person like I usually do, like I did with the 30-plus virgin. I got one. And this time I wanted to speak to someone a little bit more serious. Woman, specifically of color, that had been to prison 5+ years, not jail for a year because she beat up her boyfriend, not like that. Prison with children prior. I see these stories sometimes that we hear about prison reform and all kinds of different stories that we hear, and I can't relate to them. So I speak of them and read the articles, but I don't have someone that I can ask the question, like, how does it feel really? Like, outside of a reporter giving me a report. So I did search on Facebook, and I got like 3 or 4 comments telling me, LaShawna Tyson. And I was like, well, who is this lady? Everybody keeps telling me this. She sends me a DM. She said, hey, girl, I'm here and I'm ready. And she is with us today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to have you pull that all the way towards you. There we go. As close as you can.
All right.
Wait.
Not that close now. Listen, we talked about that price. Ain't nobody paying you to do that.
Oh, gosh. So tell me a little bit about you. First of all, like, why were you so open to when they put it? Because I've searched for some people before, and they're like, no, I don't want to talk about my time in prison. So I'm like, oh, is she willing to talk about it? Why were you so open and willing to talk about it?
I advocate, like, hard. Since I came home from prison, like, society didn't want me to get a job. They didn't want me to get anywhere to live. And as I went through those experiences, I started to see that it was much deeper than just jobs and housing and stuff. And so, like, I share my story with everybody and anybody to bring awareness, to educate people, because like when I couldn't get a job after I got a real estate, I couldn't get a job, and then I got a real estate license and sold a home to a cash buyer, went to go and get an apartment with my $3,000 cash. And so I always keep it real. So I'm going to tell you why I had walk around with $3,000 cash going from apartment to apartment.
We're going to get to that in a second.
All right,
I know, we're going to take it back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So where are you from?
Yes.
I'm from here. I'm from Orlando.
Straight from Orlando.
Yep.
So you're not coming
from Winter Park. Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, down the street.
Yeah.
Winter Park.
Around the corner.
Which is if now someone says I'm from Winter Park, you're like, oh, it's a great area. It's lavish, and
it wasn't like that when I was growing up.
It wasn't. You know, I'm from Jacksonville, so we were just talking about people think I'm a local and I'm not. So I thought Winter Park has always been this lavish little area, and I guess it hasn't.
Across on the other side of railroad tracks, it was.
Okay.
Now the railroad tracks didn't cross over to the other side. That's what's happening.
It's always them damn railroad tracks.
Right.
They know how to separate them with the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you growing up in Winter Park? So you are, I don't know if you're just not supposed to ask lady how old they are.
I'm 38 years old. I ain't ashamed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how was it growing up for you? Because I don't know if you're...
Winter Park was real slow. It was just real. It was real slow over there where I lived at. Like the bad part of Winter Park, quote unquote bad part, was like the square where the old men used to hang out and drink and play dominoes and stuff, but yeah, it was just real slow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. And what about family-wise? I was reading, you did send me an article that gave me some information on you, and you were saying that your home wasn't that of like a home, you didn't have the best home experience. What was that like?
Yeah, so I grew up with a mom who has an undiagnosed mental illness. Mm-hmm. You know, in the Black community, we just don't talk about that. And way back then, they definitely wasn't talking about it. Now, I think it's very important to recognize those problems in our communities because, like, they trickle down. They really do. And so, like, how did it feel being raised by a mom who did not know how to tell her kids that she loved them, that we can be anything that we want? It was always profanity, a lot of fighting with her boyfriends, and I was the oldest, so I always fought everybody.
How many kids?
It's 6 of us.
Okay.
And I was the oldest, and like she would always gravitate towards men who were abusive, who were like didn't want to work and stuff like that. And so that's how I think that's how I ended up, becoming a fighter after prison. So I'm so used to fighting.
Me too. I grew up, my mom didn't get diagnosed with bipolar disorder until I was like 21, 22.
My mom still ain't diagnosed.
Oh, yeah. So it was tough growing up. Like you said, it was a lot of fighting. It's a lot of confusion growing up in a household like that we don't talk about mental health. That's not anything anybody thought. It's like, hey, you need to go see a psychiatrist or something.
Yeah, we don't. We did a whole episode about mental health.
Yeah.
You and I said we're growing up with our families and not knowing that the whites sometimes they have access to this health care and they just go to the doctor with anything they got going on and they have all this therapy and we were told not to.
Yeah.
It's that you don't talk about what's going on at home.
Keep it all in the house. That
house.
was the big thing. Don't tell my business. Don't take our business out there and don't run your mouth outside of this house. So yeah.
So whatever beatings you was going, whatever fights you had to do, whatever was the fights with the boyfriend, like you said, you had to keep it all in house. So what led you and what age were you when you got arrested?
27?
Okay, so how
26, 27, one of them.
What happened? Are you open about?
I am.
Okay.
I am. So I drove a car in a robbery, and my co-defendant, he was young. And as I think about it, he probably was nervous since because I know I had never done anything like that, ever participated in it, but I knew of it because we see it in our communities, right? And so like when it's nothing when somebody say, hey, let's do this. Okay, and all you got to do is drive. All right, and so I drove the car in a robbery, and my co-defendant, apparently they said that the gentleman they went to rob pulled out a gun and he shot him and he killed him.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So you drove the vehicle.
I did.
Were you in a relationship with this guy or was you just a friend?
No, he was actually my cousin's boyfriend and his nephew.
So you had 2 other people with you.
Mm-hmm.
So why you drive the car? Like, why did they choose?
What was the benefit for you?
Yeah.
It wasn't really a benefit for me. It wasn't really a benefit for me at all. Just we see it and it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this.
Just drive the car.
All you gotta do is drive.
What at this point, my big thing was that I wanted someone that had kids. So how many kids did you have at the time?
3.
What were you like as a mom before?
I was a good mom. Just looking at myself now, and who I've become post incarceration. I wasn't the best mother that I could have been because I was mimicking the things that I was taught, right? And so yelling at my kids when I should have just been, talking to my kids, having an open dialogue with them and encouraging them that they can be anything that they want to be. But other than that, I was a good mom. They were really spoiled. I bought them everything because, that's how we think we supposed to do. We supposed to put our kids in all these nice clothes and all this stuff. But
that they're going to grow out of in like 3 months?
Yeah, but it's not about that.
How old were they when you were arrested?
6, 7, and 8.
Oh, wow, you had them back to back.
I sure did.
It was quick. So here you are. The robbery happens.
Yeah.
The shooting happens. You just take off? Left. When the robbery happened. In the car.
Oh, heck yeah.
You ran.
Yeah, because I honest to God, I never knew that nobody had a gun, right? I'm actually sitting across the street in the car, and I'm panicking because the whole way going there, something was telling me, and I say something, but I know now that it was God telling me to just don't even do it.
Right.
But I didn't listen because sometimes we just foolish, right? And I was foolish. I'm sitting in the car across the street, and I'm reading my Bible, the 23rd Psalm. I am reading
While you driving back?
While I'm sitting in the car while the robbery is taking
Wait
place.
a minute. You're reading the Bible?
Yes, in the car while they're across the street.
You was blessed. You were trying to bless the robbery.
I wasn't. Not at all.
You like you should have known.
Not at all. I wasn't blessing that at all. I just, for whatever reason, I was compelled to pick up my Bible and start reading my Bible, and that's what I did. And next thing I know, I heard 2 gunshots, and I panicked. And one of my co-defendants, the one that actually shot the gentleman, he came running across the street back to the car, and he fell on the curb. I thought that he was shot because he fell on the curb, got up and ran. He jumped in the back seat and laid down, just fell on the back seat. And I'm panicking. And I can't remember how in the world to drive my car because I had a stick.
Oh,
And I couldn't get it, and it was just like,
Right.
and so the other guy, he didn't come straight to the car. He like ran up the sidewalk because as it was after it happened, another car turned onto the street, and so he ran the opposite way instead of running straight to the car. He ran parallel, up the sidewalk, and then like I'm trying to get my car going, and I'm panicking because I'm thinking the guy in the back seat is shot,
hurt.
and I'm losing it.
Right,
I'm
right.
not about this life, period. And oh, Jesus. And the other one, when I finally get the car, and it's slow rolling because I'm still trying to remember, get my feet, coordinated. So he run across the street, and he jump in the car, and I want to turn around because Florida Hospital is this way. He yelling at me to go, go, go this way, and I'm screaming, we got to get him to the hospital because he got shot. And he was like, he didn't get shot. I said, yes, he did, because I saw him fall.
right.
And he told me that he didn't get shot, that
He had shot.
So just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
was this like a cased out thing? Was this a particular gentleman that you guys that they were actually targeting, or was it just some random person on the street?
It's kind of iffy.
Okay.
I can't say it was cased out, but it was random at the same time too.
Okay.
It was like whoever was there kind of thing.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, that's besides the point because now when I'm reading your story, you said you're gone, you leave, you don't get arrested right away.
No.
How many days is it before you said you turn yourself in? You don't even.
I don't know how many days it was. I just knew that I couldn't do that. I was not about that life. I mean, I couldn't take care of my children. I couldn't even feed myself. If you never been involved in something like that, and this is for all the young people out there who
think
are
it's so
lost and they are looking for whatever they're missing in their friends and their homeboys and stuff, don't do it because that's just something you can't take back, and it'll change you forever, right? And I couldn't do anything for myself, much less my kids, doing their hair and stuff like that. And then I left Florida because my co-defendant was really gonna kill me. Because I was the weakest link, because I was the one who was boo-hoo crying. You're
a liability now.
Yeah, and I didn't pay it no attention, because I was green. I grew up in Winter Park, I never paid no attention how he was looking at me after this happened, until he made me get out of my car and come in the house where they were. And he gave me this look when he went down the hallway behind his nephew. And when something told me to go, run, I ran. I didn't even take my car. I left my car right there in the front of their little apartment, and I ran. And I just ran, holding my keys like this because I had a lot of keychains on it.
Oh, so they would have made noise.
I didn't want to make no noise, and I ran, and somebody had a bicycle outside in the middle of the night, and I just grabbed it and jumped on it, and I was just
This is right after the
crying.
robbery.
Yes.
Right after.
right after it.
So how many days was it before you decided to turn yourself in?
I can't really remember. It may have been a month, but I don't think it was that.
So you were
long.
quote unquote on the run from or there were no suspects.
No, they didn't know at first. They didn't. People started calling in and trying to get money and stuff. Yeah. So
People that knew or just people just saying stuff.
I think it was the girlfriend.
Of one of the guys?
Yeah.
So did the guys end up, because we know that you turned yourself in, but did the guys end up getting trialed or anything like that, or was it just you?
Are they still walking around?
No. Actually, I did turn myself in. One morning I just woke up and I had a dream that gave me so much peace, and I knew that I had to turn myself in, right? Because you can hide all you want to, but I believe that karma is real, and what you put in the atmosphere comes back to you. And I didn't want to have my children suffer anything, so I was going to accept responsibility for my part in it. And I went and had my attorney take me to the Orange County Jail, turned myself in, didn't know if I was going to ever come home again, but it was the right thing to do because I worried so much. I could not shake the pain that I felt, not just for this gentleman, but what was his family going through?
Because it's like you're free, but you're not free. You're
No, you're
incarcerated
absolutely-
within
I was
yourself
incarcerated.
outside.
Right. What year was this again?
1998.
1998. Okay.
Wow. That, to me, that's like, now you're going in there how did you have the money to? So some people are gonna think about this, and I'm like, oh, I want to turn myself in, but they're gonna give me a public defender.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So where'd you get an attorney from?
My godmom got my attorney.
Okay.
My godmom got me an attorney while I was I wasn't in Florida. I think it was Atlanta. I was in, and my attorney flew there. After she got me the attorney, she flew there to talk to me and everything. You know, I really wasn't, I was so nervous and afraid and stuff like that. And so my husband at the time, he came with me, even though I wasn't with him, he just came like because some bad crap didn't happen.
Right.
And so when the attorney came to the airport, to talk to me to find out what happened so she can represent me best, you know, he just said, don't talk to her, don't tell her nothing. And so I didn't say anything. Even when I went and turned myself in, I went to her office and had her turn me in after they had charged me with first-degree murder and armed robbery.
Wow.
You know, that's one thing attorneys have said. It's like it's kind of hard representing, you know, us because we're taught not to trust the police, not to trust the law. And it's like I'm not going to sit here and incriminate myself and tell you things when you're not going to have. And it's really, really hard to represent. So I was kind of worried. I was like, she had an attorney, but she had 15 years for driving a getaway car. Like, how does that happen?
Oh, I got 15 years because she fought real hard to get me those 15 years because they was going to give me life in prison.
Wow.
You get the same charge as a getaway driver, I believe, as the one that shot.
Yes.
Wow.
Everybody was charged the same exact way. And so that's another thing that everybody needs to understand. Y'all out here hanging out thinking that if your friend do it, you ain't going to get in trouble for it. They can't charge you. They can and they will, and you will be in prison for the rest of your life. And every month you'll get a gain time sheet that has your release date as the year. It has 99, 99, 99, 99. That's the month, the day, and the year.
Wow.
That never happens.
So every year when you have a life sentence, they give you that?
Every month we get gain time sheets in prison that tell you what your release date
every 30
is.
days.
You're reminded of your life sentence every 30 days.
Wow. How is it leaving your kids now? Because now you know that you, by the grace of God, didn't get a life sentence. So not only that attorney she fought, but to not get a life sentence as a getaway driver, I've known from seeing it, like my sister's an attorney, but I've always liked the law and reading, and I read the news so much. They really do get life sentences, the getaway drivers. Like almost every single time, even if they didn't know that a robbery was happening. So how did you adjust yourself to say, I had to say goodbye to my kids and not know what's coming? Because once you turn yourself in, you're not coming back out, at least for a while.
That was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life.
They're babies.
They was babies. They was all I had. I was all they had. But I had to do what I had to do. So I did not see my kids. I could not see my kids.
You didn't say goodbye.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Because I would have never been able to do the right thing when it mattered. And the right thing was to turn myself in because I could not stop thinking about if I was this man's family, what would I want? I would want people who were involved to pay for what they did. And so I stepped up to the plate when it mattered. And I love my kids. They know I love them. And I turned myself in.
I admire you so much. You know, I tell people black women carry us on their back, and that's
Every
a prime
time.
example of what I'm saying. It's like she's the only one out of everybody that had the heart. It's like, you know what, this is not right, and you had a lot to lose. A lot. She
lost.
And
She
nothing
lost
to
a
gain.
lot.
Yes.
You could have kept going, and maybe they would have never found out.
Right.
They would have never found out. But that it takes a certain person to do something like that. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit, not too much, within inside the prison. We call them correctional facilities, but they don't correct a damn thing to me. And I just had a conversation with a gentleman who told me that he had gone to prison for 2.5 years. And although it's not a super long sentence, it's very short. But he's saying, I was like, well, did you have counseling there? Because everyone that goes to prison, most of the time, they have something that they were battling with beforehand.
Yeah.
So you were battling with, you know, the issues that you had. Your mom had mental health. The environment you were in, it's all you were seeing. You didn't know any better at the time. And him and I were talking at home, and you were saying, well, I wouldn't go until robbery or whatever. But I'm like, we don't have social media. You're only seeing what's there at the time. At that time, you didn't see what was going on outside, what was right and wrong. You just follow with whatever you got going on.
Yeah, I told her, like, you know, I come from a tough family too, and my cousins, they were all like gangbangers or drug dealers and stuff. But I just knew not to get myself in certain situations. Like if my friends was going, like for example, to go beat up some boy or to rob somebody or something like that, no, I'm gonna stay my ass home and I'm gonna sit here and watch my TV. So she was just saying, being a product of your environment kind of produced that. And I was like, well, I'm not a product of my environment. So it was kind of hard for me to relate. And
not everybody goes down the same road. You
Yeah.
have some people who go through those same situations and they're successful, but then you have people who are not so successful.
Right.
Not everybody gets the when we're being traumatized as children growing up. Not everybody gets their needs met. Not everybody gets that healing. Some of us gravitate towards some of us hide it and hold stuff inside, and that's not healthy at all. And
or looking for validation from something else.
Yep.
So
Looking
maybe
for
you
love.
look for your validation from something fighting. We did with fighting. Thank God we didn't.
I fought because I had to. No, seriously, I did. I always fought because I had to.
Yes, but we had our don't play with me.
Yeah.
Or we had our I'm gonna cuss you out. Or we had our small little things. And that would validate us a little bit instead of talking it out or talking our anger out, how we were mad. Maybe your validation, I don't know, but it came from being accepted by certain people.
Yeah, it
Or
came.
being
It
part of a
came.
group.
All of mine came from being accepted from people. So yeah, that is what allowed me to make such a dumb choice, a dumb decision at the time. But
So what does prison now give women? You're in there now, and you have to deal with yourself and your inner issues that you've had all your life and why you made it there and heal yourself to not come back into prison. What does the prison give you? What resources do you have?
when I was in prison, what I got was broken down more than what I was when I came in.
I keep hearing that.
I was inmate, get your ass over here. I'm a human being. I think the word inmate is demeaning. It takes away your humanness, if I could say that.
Animals.
They do. And I was the same stuff, growing up bitch, and I was the same thing to these officers. I never forget one captain, he cursed me out like I was a prostitute on Orange Blossom Trail in front of almost all of the staff, in front of admin. And everybody was looking like, oh man, I can't believe he's talking to her like that, but nobody said a thing. Everybody just kept eating. Like,
And why do they, I wonder, I don't know if you know the answer to this, why do they allow these correctional officers supposed to correct you and make you a better person, so when you do come back out to society, because although you're there with people that have life sentences, you're coming back out. They want you to be a better person for society. We're going to have these people running around. We don't want animals back in society. How do they let these people work there? Who watches them? Who corrects them from what they're doing to you?
nobody.
I think COs sometimes it's like a God complex to them when they are like, it's like
Let me
Yeah.
answer that
Go
for
ahead.
real, because before I went and drove this car, I was in school to be a corrections officer,
Okay.
and I hurt myself 2 weeks into class in defensive tactics and couldn't complete the course. And then the next year, I was in Orange County Jail. And so I think that just like we spoke about, like you grew up in a certain place and you went that way, and I grew up here and I went the opposite way, right? And so when we're talking about the scheme of things, you have that same type of environment inside the prison. Everybody came from a broken background. They're corrections officers as well. They just did not end up on the other side, but they're allowed to come in and they're allowed to take care of us. And so when you're like, they are overworked, they are underpaid. Yes, I'm a former inmate, and I'm saying that. And I feel like they are the most lowest paid law enforcement.
Wow.
And they
And they're
have to
dealing with
work,
you guys all
and they
day.
have to deal with us all day long. Whereas the police officers just arrest you, and they get a lot of money. They're making good salaries and stuff. While the corrections officers are with you daily, on day in, day out basis, but they are living in the same impoverished communities because they're not high paid, and they have frustrations. They have family responsibilities, and they can't take it out at home, so they bring it to work, and then they take it out on us. And there's not anybody to monitor that. Like, this is 2019. They could have CCTV in those prisons to make sure that everything is going the way it should go.
CCTV. What's that?
Closed
Cameras.
caption.
Okay.
They have cameras, but they'll tell you quick they don't work. I mean, it should be a way that they have cameras in the prisons that are connected to like a center where people, this is their job to watch and
Right.
monitor to make sure that things go the way they're supposed to. But, they don't see it like that. And so that's why you have that type of culture inside a prison where we're demeaned and we're abused and just done
And I'm
any
sure
type of
if
way.
there's some people that have probably 3 life sentences. Just don't really
Yeah.
give a rat's ass
Yeah.
about what's going on. So it's hard to separate when you're just inmate number 978 and this one's 976. This one's out here acting a damn donkey fool, and here you come, not the same way. You're leaving. They're gonna treat you the exact same way as this other person because they just pissed them off. You're no difference. It's like 2 different pit bulls.
They really didn't care. They did have some officers who treated us with respect, but they wouldn't stay long because the officers who were nasty, they would automatically say, "Oh, he messing with the inmates. But they weren't. They were just treating us with respect and kindness because they remember they had moms and sisters at home too.
How long did it take you to get acclimated to prison life? I know when I tell my friends all the time, I've been in jail 4 times for driving a suspended license. No more than 2 days.
You love telling people
And
you
it
an
was 2
OG
days.
and you a
Listen,
thug.
And I got locked up in Jackson and Duval County Jail for 2 days, and that was like, what? It was tough. I mean, it wasn't as bad, right?
That is bad still.
But it took a little bit for me to get acclimated because, I'm so used to having my freedom. For example, my cell phone. I didn't have, and it was the withdrawals that I went through and just being locked up around other people and having to conform to jail life. Right?
Listen.
By the second day, I was like, okay, well, I'm used to it. I'm used to somebody telling me get up at this time. I'm used to people coming in the middle of the night doing checkups and stuff. How long did it take?
You was used to that after 2 days?
After 2 days, I just got. I guess it just became normal and expected. It just it took.
Oh
2
no,
days.
not me.
And I think I knew I was getting out too, so I was like, Anthony, just chill. This is just for.
Oh well, not me.
Time.
I wasn't even.
How long did it take you?
I don't think I ever got acclimated to like
No,
to jail because jail is like worse than prison
I've heard that. I've heard that.
And
How long
I
were
was
you in
ready
jail?
to get up 13 months
Until the trial was over.
I didn't even go to trial.
Guys, Boomerang is coming Tuesday, February 12th, 9 Central on BET. How is it different from the film of the same name, you ask? Let's get to it. First off, it's a scripted half-hour dramedy. We are introduced to Graham Legacies, Simone Graham, daughter of Marcus and Angela. She's headstrong, gorgeous, and uncompromising. Her colleague and guy bestie, Bryson, is the son of Jacqueline Breuer. Remember? Lingerie and trench coat? Anyway, Bryson has a vision for making his mark in the business, but he and his eye Simone as well. Ari is an emerging director who walks on the wild side. David is a pastor who has yet to get over Crystal, Simone's best friend. Tia is a firecracker of the crew, ready to break big with the help of Simone's marketing genius. You'll see some of your friends and a lot of yourself on screen. Boomerang, executive produced by Lena Waithe and Halle Berry, premieres Tuesday, February 12th, 9 Central on BET. Check BET.com for show exclusives. Oh, you just pled guilty, boom, straight.
Went to prison.
Wow.
I wanted to go to prison. I said, I want to sign this. I told my lawyer when she kept coming, I said, I'm going to sign this, and I want to go to prison. I want to be in prison within a week because I want to go home. I want to get started on my time so I can come home to my babies. That's all I was thinking of.
So now, I did ask you, what do they do for you in the prison to correct you, to be the correctional facility that they are?
You can't correct somebody when you're too busy tearing them down.
So
that's just like me and what I do with with the kids. Like I'm building these kids up and trying to make sure that they don't follow in the footsteps of their parents. But I can't help these kids to heal and send them down the right path and then turn around and send them home to a caregiver who's going to break them down and call them names and tell them they stupid and stuff like that. So it's not going to ever be correction inside of the Department of Corrections until you take care of both of those sides. The officers need healing just like the inmates need healing, right?
Right.
So if you're going to correct anything, you need to be correcting them with people who are healed.
Is there counseling?
We had I think they were students though, but we had different people. It was nobody ever constant. Like I had one counselor, one therapist who was really good, and she was a psych lady, so that's what we see, psychiatrist. She was really good, and I only saw her for a couple months and then she was gone. Nobody ever stays. And most people don't care. Most time you go there and you could just say, like, if you came to prison for a drug addiction or you just want to check out of prison, you could just go to your psych and be like, oh, I'm hearing voices and and they'll just write you whatever. And so you got a lot of zombies in the prison going to the pill line because.
So wait a minute, they can get pills just as easily in the prison?
What? They get stronger pills in prison.
Wow.
That I can't remember the name. Thorazine and all that stuff, and Cinequan and Seroquel and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Were you able to keep your nose clean in prison for 14 years? Like, was it? Did you?
Oh no, I was bad.
Okay.
Oh
so
no.
So how did I go?
Oh, I'm keeping it real. Yeah. I was bad because when they cursed me out, I cursed them back because it's like this. I might have on blue, you may have on brown, but we still the same person. You treat me with respect, I would treat you with respect.
But doesn't that then, if something happens, you're at their mercy now? So
I went to jail. I went to confinement.
For how long? What was the longest time?
Oh God, I stayed in for months one time.
Months?
Yeah.
Don't you feel like you're going crazy in there?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
No? Oh, you liked it better than being out?
Yeah, at first I did because I lived in a dorm with 86 women.
Wait, hold on. So it's not like two people in a cell?
No.
It's like a dorm?
Yeah.
Wow.
Beds everywhere. And if you're tired, people don't care if you're tired. They're going to talk over your head, scream over your head, do whatever, have sex, whatever. They don't care. Mm-hmm. And so, sometimes I just wanted to be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
What was the worst thing that happened to you while you were in? Because 13 years is a long time.
Let me see.
So many to choose from, I guess. Right, 13 years.
It's a lot.
Every day is
fights.
Something.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Get into fights.
Yeah, I've had to fight one girl, like, because people size you up when you first get there, and I was really quiet. Even though I went to prison, I was always different, and growing up, I was always different. I like Cyndi Lauper, played the violin. I was always different. I was that black girl, but I was different, and so that didn't change just because I was incarcerated. Right. I was still myself, and so, oh, she thinks she's this, she thinks she that, she thinks she cute, and all this stuff. But like, what you want from me? I'm not bothering y'all. And so it was this group of girls called themselves a little gang or whatever, and her little ugly girlfriend started looking at me and liking me and all this stuff, but I wasn't even, feeling her like that at all. But she kept messing with me, thinking that because she was mad because her girlfriend was eyeballing me, and so.
And you showed me your picture. Your hair was laid. It was cute. I was
just locked up. That's all. They ain't take nothing away. I was just incarcerated. That's it. I mean, seriously, they could lock you up. They lock your body up, but they don't stop nothing. Like, you still a human being. Mm-hmm. And
so the girl ended up fighting you because her girlfriend wanted you?
She got me moved out of the dorm where I had a really good friend of mine I was real comfortable with, through my coming to prison, because I was just getting there a couple years in, and I was crying, and her friends passed by me, oh look at it, and whatever, and I had held in so much. This is why you can't hold stuff in. I held in so much through my whole process of being incarcerated and missing my kids. And every day I'm missing my kids, and I'm crying and I'm miserable. And I just exploded on her. And
She caught them hands.
She caught it.
Hands and feet.
She caught the pen too.
Now you say that, how often, and this is just a question I always think of, how often do women turn to dealing with other women once they're in prison?
Listen, let me tell you something. Like I said, and I can't stress it. I cannot stress this enough. And if a guy is listening, you're a young guy, you thinking you about that life, you better change it around, because you can lock the body up, but human nature is human nature. Yeah. Nature is going to be nature. And so you got two choices in prison. You can flirt with the male officers and have sex with them for free, because they ain't giving you nothing but a pack of gum, maybe a tube of lipstick for 99 cents. But what you see is what you become. I grew up and I saw a certain thing, and that's what, a lot of people become, is what we see. And so you could be the hardest of the hardest person saying, oh, I never do that. But if you see a girl that look like a man, and look like a man, and people walking around holding hands, and you see people having sex, and you see, like, this becomes the norm to you.
Not only that, we're humans. We need human touch.
We need human interaction. So they say it's a DR if you masturbate, you get written up for that. If you have sex with somebody,
you can't masturbate.
Yes, you can't do nothing. Yeah, you're supposed to cut that off because they sent you to prison. You're supposed to stop life, period, because they sent you to prison. So it don't work like that.
So if you get written up for masturbating, might as well get written up for doing the whole thing.
I mean, everybody wants. It's just human nature to want the comfort of another human being.
Right.
And so that's what we gravitate to. So yeah, I had a girlfriend. I had lots of girlfriends. I had 13 years in prison.
Wait a minute.
And
How was the longest one?
I don't know, because nobody ever had the time that I had.
Oh.
So there you go. And then I got another girlfriend.
Gotcha.
And I'm that's how it is. The same thing for men. My brother, he did 2 years in prison, and he used to call me. He went in after I came home. He's, hey man, this dude, he was the biggest drug dealer in Lake County, man. Everybody knew him all throughout the state. He in here, he got 4 or 5 women, so-called women,
right.
putting money in their account, and they ironing his clothes, and one of them cook for him, and one of them the dorm wife. I said, yeah, because they just locked the body up.
I always ask this question to men and like my guy friends.
They ain't gonna tell you.
And I'm like, well, you get 5 years. Some of them will be like, oh, it's just 5 years. I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've known him. I think I believe him, which is he's like a brother of mine. He's been a few times, but I tell somebody, you get a life sentence. You not like, oh, I get conjugal visits. What if your place doesn't have conjugal visits?
Florida ain't got no conjugal visits.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, my uncle was locked. He's been locked up almost all his life, and at one period of time, I know growing up, I overheard my mom talking like, so and so got a boyfriend up in there now. That's who wrote this letter, because your mom couldn't read it right. So he was like, that's who wrote this letter.
Yeah, that happens.
And it was kind of hard for him to acclimate being back out in regular society, and he was so used to being in jail.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you coming back? And yeah.
So now I want to touch into that, because now it's the years are passing. You've had the girlfriends, you've had the fights, you feel alone. You probably went to like the chapel and decided that you wanted to become a better person once you came out.
No.
No?
No, I stopped going to church in the prison early on in my sentence. When I was coming from church one night, and the officers at Dade Correctional Institution literally set it up for my bunkie to be beat up by a group of inmates, and that just stopped me from going to church, because I literally watched them stay and do a double shift in order to orchestrate this thing, and that shook me, and I didn't go back to church no more.
So did you turn away from church, or did you turn away from God? Was it?
Well, I had never, up until 2006, I never thought God loved me or cared about me.
So when did that change? Because during the robbery, you have your Bible. And
Yeah,
you're reading the
I
Bible. So you have some
mean,
type of spirituality back
I
then.
did have some type of spirituality, and it's like I was searching, but he never answered, if you understand what I'm saying. Just because my life was so shitty growing up, right? This can't be real.
Right.
Like, when am I ever going to, I'm a good person. Like, I'm smart. Like, when am I ever going to get a break? Like I believe you're real, but I don't think you see me. I don't think you hear me, And so, yeah, I read the Bible.
It was one of those when we do something and we know something real bad and real stupid, we'd be like, all right, God, if you're real and you get me out of this, I'll serve you, or I'll stop, or I won't do it again.
Oh, no. There wasn't none of that. See, I grew up with my mama. She tried to push religion on us, but it was in a perverted, twisted way. So everything was like, it was just really weird. Like, to be manipulated through religion, because I can remember my mom having us sitting in a circle, reading us the Bible, and saying she's translating and telling us that white people was the devil that is kicked down from heaven. And I can remember my little self saying, well, my friend at school, she fell and she scraped her knee and she was bleeding red just like me. So how is she the devil? The devil, is any different and stuff? But, I've always questioned stuff. But, like, at that moment, it just made me just push away and, like, give up pretty much anything until 2006. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, you hear a lot of people that say they found God in jail.
Right. So that's why that to me, she's like, no, I didn't turn it. Because everybody finds Jesus or some type of spirituality while they're in jail, but you kind of turned away from it. So now let's fast forward. Because prison, clearly, you made the best that you could while you were in. And did you see your kids while you were in?
Oh, yeah. Every other week.
Every other week? Who brought them? Who
My
were they with?
godmom.
Your godmother? So now I was reading through your things, and you are actually the founder of Equip, and that means empowering kids with incarcerated parents.
Yes.
So your godmother was the one that had your kids for 13 years.
No, she didn't have them all the time. they stayed with my mom at first.
Your grandmom did a lot for you. She got your
Yeah.
attorney, and she
Yep.
got your kids.
Yep, she helped with my kids, and she got my attorney. She did a lot. Mm-hmm.
So how was it? Did your kids? How's your relationship with your kids in prison? Like, were they angry at you? Like, what
Or was it just
like?
the norm?
Yeah.
I've always encouraged my kids to communicate. Like, if y'all mad at me, say it. I've always tried to be open and honest with them. Like, because at first they was just too young, and I wasn't going to tell them what happened. But then my mom started to try to turn my kids against me, and so she was telling my kids that, oh, I was this and I was that, and then I had to tell them the truth, and so they were like confused and back and forth. But
Didn't know
pretty
how to
much. Yeah, the kids really don't know how to feel, and they don't got nobody to express that stuff to. That's why I started Equip, right? My kids went to school, and mommy didn't come to field trips. Mommy didn't do this. Mommy didn't do that. But I still love my kids, and so I used to write their teachers.
Oh.
I would write my kids. Didn't find out until they was much older that I would write their teachers at the beginning of the school year and say, hey, I'm mom. I'm in prison. I love my baby. Be mindful if they're going through some things, that this is why they're going through it. And
so you were still parenting from being
As she tried to be the most, as much of a mom as she could from behind prison walls.
Yeah, like I said, they just lock your body up. Other stuff don't stop. I was gonna always be a mom, and I have a really good relationship with one of the teachers that I wrote a letter to. I went and saw her when I got out.
What year did you get out?
2011.
That's
So the difference of coming in from jail prison from 1998 to 2011, the world is totally different.
Tell me about it.
totally different. So you're getting, when I go to read through your story, you're being told instead of 15 years, you're going to do 13 for good behavior.
Yeah.
Was it for? And they tell you to sign a paper before you're released. What was this paper that you refused? Like a strong, you said, what? I'm not signing this. What was it?
It was a paper, like they call you classification 2 days before you get out, a couple days before you get out, and you got to sign all your release papers, right? And so I'm thinking, I waited on this moment for a long time. My baby's gonna be here to get me in 2 days. I'm signing the paper, and then they slide this other one over, and it's talking about restoration of civil rights, and I went to read it, and the lady said, honey, sign it. So I said, no, ma'am, I'm not signing that. I want to read it first. And she was like, hurry up. And so I was reading, and it said that I wouldn't be able to vote anymore. And I was like, the judge ain't sentenced me to that. I'm not signing that paper, And she said, well, you can stay in here the other 2 years. It don't matter.
If you would have waited the 2 years, would that be restored?
I don't know, because I wasn't trying to find out. I was trying to come home.
So they gonna get who needs to vote?
Oh, right. I wasn't trying to find out. I was like, what? And I signed the paper because I was getting up out of there. Yeah, but I didn't think about that moment until I came home and trying to get a job, trying to get somewhere to stay. And I started thinking, how can they get away with this? And they're killing us through policies. They're killing us through laws. They're keeping us in slavery through policies and laws. And so, okay, I see what they're doing. So now I got to fight again.
I thought it was crazy because, again, the name of the podcast is Shit, I'm 30. So my demographic of listeners are about 26 to late 30s. And if you go through something like this, you were saying that when you went in, you were in school, in a university or in a college.
Yeah, I went to Seminole State.
So you're at Seminole State, and you try to come back to go to school, and you can't come back with in-state tuition.
In-state tuition because I didn't have a driver's license that was a year old.
Although you've been living
wait a minute now. I have a prison ID. They said, this is my identification until I get another one. They said that's not an acceptable form of ID to qualify for in-state tuition. I said, what is? A driver's license that's a year old. I said, I can go get a driver's license. It has to be a year old. And then you have to have a voter's registration card,
but you can't vote.
A bill or in your name or something to prove residency. I said, listen, this is ridiculous. Like, I know I've been in prison for a long time, but I do know this much, that you could pull it up on the computer and see where I was for the last 13 years, that I never left Florida. And they said that's still not acceptable. And it is the Board of Governors who make that rule.
So is that rule
impacts
still
us. It's still standing right now to this day.
So when you come out of prison, they want to better themselves and get a degree.
Right.
Because that's what everyone's told.
Right.
You come out of college.
Right.
I mean, you come out of prison, go to college, do something on yourself.
Right.
But now you have to pay out-of-state tuition, which is like
which
5
you can't
times
afford.
as high.
You can't afford under financial aid. If you get Pell Grant, you can't afford that.
There's no scholarships or anything like that was available
For inmates, for former inmates,
yeah.
no, they need. We really need that.
Yeah.
So they got scholarships for being left-handed.
Yeah,
they
do.
got scholarships for your toe being too big. They got scholarships because your eye twitch. Like, come on, all these things, but they don't have a scholarship for someone who wants to better themselves and be a better part of society.
So what was your first job when you got out? Like how?
Because you can't get many jobs either. You have to write down that you're a felon.
The first job that I had was my friend, a good friend of mine. She had another friend who she was telling her about me because I used to cry to her all the time. She called me and I'd be crying. I try to get a job, people ain't hire me. You know, McDonald's just looked at me and laughed at me when I went in. I went inside instead of going online and fill out the application. I went in there and I literally begged the manager for a job. And she asked me what would I go to prison for, and I told her, and she like laughed at me, like McDonald's wasn't gonna hire me. But I thank you Jesus right now that they didn't know. But my first job she got with her friend for me, and I was just answering phones for a while, and then that was just temporary though, and then I was back to the drawing board. Couldn't get a job, and so I was just like, listen, I broke down real bad and went in the room, and I was just crying to God because I was living in somebody else's house and struggling, and like coming home from prison with no money and no clothes.
Do they give you anything? I've seen in movies that they give you like.
Girl, I should have bought my paper with me today because some people marked on my release paper that they gave me release money, and I never got one penny from them.
How much is they supposed to give?
$100, I think.
And they didn't give it to you?
They didn't give me nothing.
Wow.
So by this time your kids are grown because
Yeah.
you sit 7 and 8. So they're the
19, 20, and 21.
Exactly. So who did you when you got out, did you go stay with your kids? Like did you your
I went to my godmom's house where my kids were my son was staying there. Everybody was there except for my baby girl. She was in California at the time when I came home. But it was toxic. Nobody prepared either side for reunification, and we bumped heads really bad, and it hurt me so bad because I was already released back into a world that didn't want me, and then to be rejected by my family.
So they didn't know who you were, kind of. That you
No,
left as a baby.
they didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who they were either. So that goes both ways. That goes both ways.
They've been through so many things that you weren't there for. So it's like, don't come and try to be my mama now when you haven't been around this whole time.
Because I got up on prison time still. I got up at 4 something in the morning. By 6 o'clock, I was scrubbing the whole house down with bleach. And if you ever been locked up, you know why that's funny, because we used to buy bottles of bleach for $5. But now I got a whole gallon of Clorox, so I'm scrubbing everything down with, bleach and stuff. And I'm telling my kids, hey, go in there and wash the dishes.
Right.
I ain't washing no dishes. I said, well, who you talking to? You better go wash some dishes.
And now they're grown.
And you don't tell me what to do. I said, well, I don't care how long I was in prison. You ain't going to disrespect me. But that's the wrong attitude. And I know we get that in our community growing up. Oh, I'm your mama. No, y'all got it wrong. Y'all got it wrong. Like these are our babies. We have to love them. We have to treat them like they're their own individuals with their own mind to help them grow. Because as long as you keep telling, oh no, you do what no, they got feelings too. They need to be heard. They need to be listened to. They need to be able to express themselves. That's what we don't do well in our community.
So who helped you? How did you get from, because now you're coming out as a whole woman, you're basically fucked in the head as bad as you can because you weren't helped there. Your kids are just, you guys are separated. Who helped you to be able to get to where you are today? Because now you're sitting here helping others, but unless you helped yourself and you fixed yourself, you can't help nobody else.
It was through that initial bumping heads with my children that made me I just walked away. I had to walk away. And I tell you, when I was in jail, I didn't know how to pray. I was having an anxiety attack, the first I ever had. And
you didn't have one in prison, but you had one outside.
Oh no, I had it when I was in jail. I had never had an anxiety attack. Then I just heard about it. And I was thinking about my kids one night. And I just started real bad, and I was just crying because who's going to protect my babies? Nobody ain't going to do them like I do them. I had to lead them with the person that broke me, right? And I just remember looking out the window, and across the street from the jail, there's a big cross that lights up at night at First Baptist Church. And I looked at that cross, and I said, Lord, I don't know if you hear me, but I just want you to take my babies, put them in your hand, and cover them up and protect them until I come home. And so I had to do the same thing when I came home from prison. I had to give them right back to him, and because I needed, I I ain't have nothing to give to help them on that because I felt like I was an alien dropped in, on earth, and I needed to try to figure out stuff for myself. And so I just backed away from it and gave them some space, and I had some space, and then I started to think about it, and then I started to literally look in the mirror to figure out who I was, right? How did I become this way? And then when I realized how I became this way, I started to look at that person and how did she become that way? And then I started to see that it is a generational thing that we're carrying, right? And so somebody has to change some things.
Is there a book that you read by any chance while you were in, while you were out? It was all just you it was all within yourself all this time. And you had no idea that you had the power to do this yourself.
I never understood that I needed prison. I needed prison. I needed prison to separate me from the chains that bound me. Because I was in prison before I went to prison.
That's deep. Yeah. Our community, we are.
We are.
And so I needed that separation. I'm thankful for my experience in prison. I have some regrets because I never wanted anyone to lose their life. And so I can't bring him back, but I can make sure that every teenager that I come across, every person that I can try to make them see how you can cause harm to somebody and it's irreversible, right? So I want to go to the juvenile detention center. Well, I have been there and talked to the kids to make sure that they don't hurt people like how this man was hurt. And so I can't give life, but I can't take give him back his life.
His life didn't go in vain.
Yeah.
So what happened then can make a difference. Make a difference. We can't bring it back. We can't bring it back. Point blank.
Right. There's one thing we talked about before we got on air is that you developed diabetes while you were in jail. Because of the food and stuff like that. And I said, my granddad, when he was locked up for a year, some crackhead tried to steal my granddad wheelbarrow, and my granddad pulled out a rusty shotgun and they called the police. And my granddad, I'm like 19. My granddad is in jail for a whole year. But he developed diabetes and a lot of sickness because of
ramen noodles, chips, cookies.
All that stuff.
Yep, ain't no healthy stuff in there. Like you would think they would have salad options and fresh vegetables and stuff like that. No,
as much money as we pay in taxes and these correctional facilities are making, y'all could be eating like kings and queens.
They could be growing their own food.
Yes.
What? You know what? I didn't even think of that. Why don't you guys have a garden back there growing stuff? Y'all could do it. They could have the prisoners doing this and
That's
growing
something you
it.
have to ask the Department of Corrections.
Doing free labor. That's what they're doing. Yeah, instead of growing their own food for themselves.
Didn't they say like Jordan uses prison people?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I hear a lot about being for-profit prisons.
Yeah.
So the prison that you were at, was it a for-profit prison?
No.
Okay.
The work release was, though.
Oh, okay. All right. So now you're out. You try to get a job. You go to McDonald's, right?
Yep.
And you get a check. You can't now get housing. It's another thing that we don't. There's so many laws that keep you incarcerated, like you said.
Policies
that you just can't do anything with. So you can't get a place to live either because now you have to get. Why won't they let you live somewhere? Because you're a felon.
Yes.
That's the only. They don't ask you who you are, what you're doing now. How have you changed?
Have you ever been convicted of a felony? That is the standard discrimination clause. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? When you go to a job, fill out the application. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Check yes or no. Check the box yes. They toss it in the garbage. And so when I could not get a job, I just thought, I said, I'm going to try for a real estate license, right? And so I went in front of the FREC, and I was honest with them and told them everything. And they said, well, Miss Tyson, go, everybody was crying. They said, go and, make a living.
I've heard of stories. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing of getting your real estate. They almost did not get me a real estate license because
they just want you to be honest.
Yeah, well, because I had driver's license. No, I didn't lie. It was not a lie. But I didn't think
I thought you were going to be I'm a bad bitch. Nothing has ever happened to me.
They sent me a letter and was just like, hey, you're going to have to prove that you have taken care of these things before you get your license. Mm-hmm. And I know one thing. We heard of a story about people going in front of FREC and everything and presenting their story, and then they'll give them a real estate license.
FREC is the Florida Real Estate Commission, something like that?
Exactly.
I told y'all I have my thing for I never did nothing with it, but I went to FREC.
So I was so surprised to hear that a felon, especially something that was committed, involved in a murder case, received a real estate license. Mm-hmm. But
as long as you're honest, that's their biggest thing. Like they integrity and honesty. Like there was one girl, she stole out of Victoria's Secret or somewhere when she was 18.
Well, I might know who that is.
But she She chose to not tell them that, and they already knew before she went in front of
Right.
them. And because she did not tell them that, they denied her. So you can imagine my last name Tyson. It was going alphabetical order. By the time they called my name, I said, I know they ain't
know
gonna give me
better.
now.
Right, right.
But I was totally honest, and
And you got
they
it.
was crying, and they said, Miss Tyson, welcome home. Go and sell houses. Go and make a living. Take care of yourself.
That is amazing.
And I did. I sold a house to a cash buyer 3 months later, and
Did you continue on real estate?
I still have my license.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you
wanna
keep
buy a
renewing
house?
it? He's a real estate agent.
Oh,
You want a
okay.
job?
We'll figure this out quick.
Oh yeah, but
Is that the only house you sold, or did you do it for a while?
I sold some houses, yeah. So man, I tell you, y'all talk about technology and being locked up and stuff. So here's the first one of my big whoops with technology after coming home. So I went to Bank of America to cash my commission check, $3,000, right? And I go there, and the lady said, Miss Tyson, you want me to put it in your account? I said, no, because I want to use the ATM thing outside. And so I got the cash, $3,100 bills. I go outside, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I literally shoved $3,100 bills in this machine in the wrong place. And I don't get no receipt. I don't get nothing. And I'm crying. My money. And I'm embarrassed. And I don't want to go in the bank and tell this lady that I put my money in the wrong place. But I got to, because I need my money, right?
Right.
And so she looking at me like, why did you put it there? I said, I don't know. I was too embarrassed to tell her I just came from prison.
Right.
And so they went inside and on the inside and tried to open it up. Thing they didn't see no money. They literally had to call the company that services the machine. They pulled it out from the wall, and my money was in between the wall and the ATM.
Oh
right?
my God.
Nobody prepares us for none of that stuff. So I had $3,000 cash when I went to go look for an apartment because I wasn't messing with no more ATMs. And all day long, I just went from one place to the next, and they kept saying, "No, you can't rent here." And I got pissed off at the last place. And I said, well, how long do I have to wait? Damn. Yeah. And they said, 99 years. I said, whatever.
Wait, what?
You ain't going to be alive in 99 years. Like, how can you tell me 99? She said, it's not my policy, ma'am. I just work here.
I did read your story. You said, you can discriminate against felons, but, and here you are, you're selling houses, but
Right.
you can't get into a
Right.
place
I
to
can't
rent.
live. Right. I can
Right.
sell. That made no sense.
Yeah.
I can sell, but I can't rent. And it was that moment as I was walking out of that place, and it's on Wymore in Altamont Springs. It was that moment walking out of there when I literally, it was like a viewfinder that was, those old things we used to have. It's like I could see the ladies getting out of prison and coming back, getting out of prison. They was happy, excited, and then coming back to prison broken again. And every time I used to ask them why you came back, because I couldn't get a job, I couldn't get nowhere to live, I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that.
Right.
Policies are killing us, right? Policies are causing recidivism. Not anything else, not because a person don't want to do right, because they want to do right. Nobody wants to go back to prison.
Yeah.
But y'all got it so out here that we have no other option but to throw rocks at the pen again.
So how did you start?
Equip.
Yes.
I started Equip. My daughter graduated from University of Florida with 2 master's degrees in
Hello.
2016. Yeah. And so she's a licensed counselor now.
Okay.
And me and my children, we have been growing in a very positive way for the last couple years since I've been home. And so we communicate and we listen. We do it different now, right? And just hearing the stuff that my children went through made me want to act because they're not unique. There's other kids out here who are going through the same thing that my children went through, right? The alienation and all of the stuff, the trauma that they go through, and then having to go home and, like, for years, my godmom used to tell my kids, oh, your mom's coming home this Christmas. Your mom's coming home this Christmas.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
That is such a letdown. Knowing good and well you weren't coming home.
So, and then they resent you because you never came home. They feel some type of way about it.
They was really hurt because every year, every Christmas, you had to hear this, mommy's coming home, knowing mommy was not coming home. But so it was when my kids started expressing those things to me, and I carry the ladies in my heart that I left behind in prison, right? Most of them couldn't stand me, but I loved them because we were broken together.
Yeah.
That prison is filled with broken children in adult bodies, right? still not getting their needs met. And so I wanted to do something for their kids because I can never go back to my kids when they were little and raise them, but there's nothing stopping me from helping the ladies' kids who I left behind. And so I started Equip, and it's a support group for the children. We meet monthly, and they have a safe space where they can come in and talk about the things that they're going through. Nobody's judging them.
So it's
Everybody's
yourself and your
supporting
daughter?
them. It's myself, my daughter. I have some volunteers in the organization right now, and we've been so for the last couple months, almost a year, I've been actively doing Equip, and so it's a lot with forming a nonprofit. I go to UCF, and my major is nonprofit management. So I want to give these kids 150%. I don't want no half step. And I've been involved with other nonprofits along the way since I've been released, and I saw places where they didn't have their stuff together, right? Like when you got to get laid off because somebody doesn't know how to manage the budget or stuff like that. I don't want that for Equip. So I said, I'm going to invest into myself to invest into these children. That's right.
Tuition now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I graduated. I got into Seminole State College, and I graduated in 2016.
Nice.
And I went straight to University of Central Florida. So that's where I'm at right now. Yeah.
So it can happen.
It will happen, and you have to be determined.
If you want it.
Yes.
You have to be determined. You have to be a fighter. You cannot
break you
just
down.
let the people tell you no and you just take that for what it is. I'd never let nobody paint on my canvas. This is mine. I'm painting my own pictures from this moment on because too much of my life, somebody else always had that paintbrush. Not no more.
And the no is not a wall. You can go right around it.
I'm so happy.
I knock it down.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're sharing your story and you're not ashamed of it. A lot of people are so ashamed, and it's like we can learn from this. Like me, I'm learning so much, and it's like I'm understanding what my mom went through. It was one point in time my mom was involved into a drive-by shooting, and she said she was in the back seat on the floor, like, "Listen, God, if you just let me get back to my babies, I swear to God, I'll never go out again."
Yeah.
And my mom never went out. Now she cussed me the hell out every day, but she never went out. So it could have easily been her. And
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really do. Thank
Yeah.
you so
Like,
much.
and we'll get it doesn't have to just be that. It could be myself when I got into a fight and I thought I killed this girl.
Right.
I could have been gone.
There's a 16-year-old girl. She came to prison. She was fighting a girl after school about a boy, and she stabbed her, and she killed her.
Just like that. The same thing with Gavin and JR here, and one of my great friends that I worked with, and he got stabbed by another person that I knew. And I'm sure, I think of it, I'm like, he probably just did a small stab with a small knife. He died. You never know what dumb thing you might do that's going to kill someone else, and you just end up in prison for no reason, you know? So we have to control ourselves beforehand and know that this is real. And once you get out, it's not easy. And then if you do something stupid and end up being caught, know that you can come out and be her. Right. You can fight past those no's, fight past the policies that tell you you're not good enough, you can't get this, you're still in prison outside.
That's right.
Although you might be smelling the fresh air, but you're going to start to sit in shit while you're out.
And to the people that's that never been to prison, we have to understand that these are our brothers and sisters, and it's easily been us, and they're human beings. So we have to try our best to try to help
like managers
get back to where they can be productive.
Human resources. If you're the one hiring someone, don't look at the paper and say that's it. I don't want them. Talk to them. It takes nothing for you to take 20 minutes in an interview and find out what it is, why you went to prison.
This scholarship thing, though, is so mind-blowing to me that it's not anything.
Nothing.
Right.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's out-of-state tuition as well. Like, this is something.
Listen, you don't lock me up in Florida. You better give me this goddamn tuition in Florida.
Exactly. But I'm glad that we now have the right to vote now, and we can vote on these things, and we have a voice. The prisoners have a voice now to actually say, hey, this is not right. This is
right. And we talked about it the day that it happened. It was January 8th here in Florida. And it's another thing that I found out with the attorney that I had on, that Florida, it was just one of three states. So now there's only two states left, Kentucky and Indiana?
Iowa.
Mm-hmm. It was I knew that. Mm-hmm. So Kentucky and Iowa are still struggling with this part. But now us Floridians, go and register. Like, we were fighting for y'all. You asked us to give you that vote for people that had not been to prison.
I'm registered.
Are you ready? Did you go on the 8th?
January 8th.
You went there. It doesn't take much. What did you have to do? So I tried to explain it, and I read it from a
It's
report.
so easy.
What did
you
you
can
do?
go online. They can go online, register to vote. They can go online and put in their Google search bar, register to vote in Florida, and it'll pop up. And you just go in there and you put your name in there, your driver's license number, and your date of birth or something like that, and your address, and boom, you're a registered voter. So I went to the supervisor of elections.
Yeah.
So you can't be convicted of murder or sex offenses. Okay. But
If you do are convicted of either one, you can go before the board,
You can-
and they'll
yeah.
make it case by case.
yeah, you can go in front of the clemency hearing.
Right.
And,
Well,
and
sometimes what they say
apply.
now.
Hopefully, it'll be a lot faster than it has been because people were waiting 20, 25, 30 years to go in
Wait
front
a
of the
minute.
clemency
Wait a
hearing.
minute. See, that's the thing. You read on the news like, yeah, just go in front of the board of the clemency, and it's not like you get a
Rick
week.
Scott changed that when him and Pam Bondi came into office, but he's no longer there. And hopefully DeSantis won't be, like him.
That's little baby Trump.
I don't know. He did some. I don't know.
What he do? What did he do that I don't know about?
He has this whole energy, to cleaning up the gold. and
Yeah,
all this
he
other stuff.
clean-
He's
doing
coming up with
that,
some
yeah,
liberal, like ideas, which surprised me. But
Yeah.
we
I was
need-
shocked too. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
DeSantis,
okay.
I see you.
I
All
see
right
you too.
now.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So
We'll
I
see.
registered as non-party affiliation.
Okay.
And
But if you do that, you can't vote.
yes, I can.
No,
I got
but-
29. Yes, I can. I've been researching.
No, can you vote during the primaries?
Yes, I can. I have done my research. I have a strategic plan. I have
what's that?
29 days to register with either party. But in the meantime, in between time, those people going to work for my vote because I ain't giving them nothing.
Gotcha.
Because when I came home, guess who told me that I couldn't rent? Democrats and Republicans. Guess who told me I had to check a box on the application? Democrat and Republicans. I don't identify as either one.
So
And
you'll
and
choose 29 days prior who you want to go for.
After
Makes
I
sense.
meet with them and talk with them and see what they're gonna do for us, and so that is my message to every person who's been convicted of a felony.
I'm being so educated right
Yeah,
now.
because I'm like, no, you can't. But I didn't realize that you can right beforehand choose a
29
party.
People in the black community, African American community, need to do the same thing too. They need to make them work for their vote. They do. Cause I've been working on I've worked on GOTV stuff since I came home from prison too, and like, okay, why was I leaning more Democrat? Because the few black people that did in my family register to vote, they was Democrat, and that's all I ever heard was, oh, black people Democrat. That's who we fail at because they know they ain't got to do nothing to get our vote.
Right.
And the other people just say we ain't even trying to get y'all vote because we don't care nothing about you. And so we don't win.
So now that you're out and you have this nonprofit, if anyone wants to help you with that, how can they help you?
So they can send our website is going to be active next Friday, and I will give you the information
Please
to
do.
update that. But you can also go to the Society of St. Vincent de Paul Orlando's webpage and click on just search on the top, and it has the little drop down bars where it says equip, and you can make donations there.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I would prefer like they, the website because it's
coming.
really,
No,
it's
once it
really
comes
really
up,
really
I'll,
nice.
I'll make sure I'll update.
I'm so
Make sure
proud of the
I'll-
website, and I'm telling you about God. Like He's really like telling me that yes, LaShawna, this is what I made you for. I received a large donation, in-kind donation for marketing, and so I have really nice business cards, a really nice website.
I got one. I like it.
Yeah, and
As soon as I met her, here go my business card.
Right.
I was like, yeah, you beat me to it. I was trying to say, I already knew you
yeah,
was a
so
realtor,
if
I wasn't
people,
gonna try to
so
sell you.
I do know the website information. So if people want to wait until next Friday to want to, donate or
really
just
some
go on
Tuesday,
and
so-
look and see what we're about, it's equipcares.org.
And that's
EKWIP
EKWIP.
cares.org.
So equipcare.com. I'll make sure I'll just tag it on there, and once it becomes active, it'll be ready.
Yep.
So thank you so much.
Thank
You taught
you.
me a lot, honestly.
Thank you.
There's certain things that you and I probably would have been talking shit on here one day on shit you should know, and been saying the wrong shit
wrong
because
thing.
somebody on Fox News gave me the wrong information. You know what? I'm like,
I don't, even
I don't
watch
read Fox News.
Like, that's the problem. We should be seeing all different aspects. Like,
Yes,
we should watch
yes.
Fox News, CNN, everything. So
Right. Thank
yeah.
you so much for
You're
coming and
welcome.
talking to us
You're
about
welcome.
this.
You're welcome.
Can I be like to read? We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. You're so stupid. Don't forget, check out Boomerang on BET Tuesday, February 12th, 10/9 Central on BET. Okay, guys, this Saturday, February 9th from 7 to 10 p.m., meet myself and
Tony the realtor. See, bitch, that's gonna stick like grits. Watch.
It's going to stick. Okay, we're going to let it stick. Meet us at Loud Gallery. We're having our second speed friending event.
Yes,
So
yes.
if you didn't make it to the first one, you missed out.
A lot of people are excited. I know once I posted on my timeline, a lot of my friends and stuff from like Jacksonville and Atlanta and DC were like, dude, this is so dope. Like, I might need to do something like that here.
It is, because when you
Yeah.
think about it, what other way is there to meet people in our age?
Exactly.
Tinder, and once you swipe right, you clearly gonna get somebody that wants to fuck right away.
Right.
So it's like, do you want to meet someone who is just cool with, maybe you can network with, or you just a friend to spend some time with?
So to let y'all know, this is called speed friending. This is not called
Speed dating.
Speed dating.
No,
but
friending.
if you meet somebody that you like, I mean, do you? I ain't here to cop block nobody.
First of all, you should always become friends with someone
You should.
before you date them.
Yes, you should.
So if it turns into dating, great. I mean, if it turns into a one night stand, we're all adults as well.
Girl, I ain't
So you can,
I don't
but
care
you
what
can
y'all
come
do.
with your significant other. So my boyfriend came at the time. There was other couples that came through. Then they were completely random people who just moved into town. And
Yeah.
they're like, how am I supposed to meet somebody?
It was a
around
lot
here?
of new people that actually just moved into, a lot of
Yes.
young professionals as well, and it was great to actually meet them. It was like, oh well, welcome to the city. You actually met the right person. Let me tell you,
you
do
met
this,
the
do
right
that.
friend.
Right? Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
You
so
want to be
green.
friends with us?
So yeah, it's great. A lot of my friends are excited to come through.
Yes.
And-
So it's going to be Saturday from 7 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
The speed friending part of it starts at 7:30. It's free entry, so I'm not going to charge y'all nothing for this.
Mm-hmm.
But the bar will be open for drinks, wine. What the hell is that? There's punch. There is champagne. Drinks. God damn it. There's drinks. There's going to be a DJ that we're going to have music. And then we have games. Giant Uno cards. Jenga somewhere. We're done with the speed friending because it's going to happen quick. Then we go ahead and play some games, listen to music, just interact with
And
all of us.
socialize, yes.
Yes.
So make sure you guys do go on Eventbrite, or is it Eventbrite?
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite. Excuse me. What the fuck? I can't get it together. If I can never get it together. Eventbrite. And go ahead and register for the ticket. Like you said, it is free, but we do have limited RSVPs because
Yes.
the venue is so
It's
your
only
butt
so
so
big.
big. So go ahead and secure your spot ASAP.
Yes, it's let's go speedfriending.eventbrite.com, or you can go to my Instagram, Carla Wilmaris, and on my link, I have the direct link to the Eventbrite. And I hope to see you guys on Saturday at 7 o'clock.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.